So, what are we discussing today? So, we will be discussing today media queries. Okay. So the basically responsive web design. For responsive, we use how responsive web is made. Basically using media queries. Responsive websites are made using media queries. What are media queries? Basically, media queries are used to target. Okay, so to target specific device, okay, screen, and so different environment characteristics. Okay. Characteristics. So these are that as environment. These are called media features, which may include resolution, orientation, that is landscape, portrait, and other things. Other things also include device width, height, okay, and the color. So pointer. So all these things are taken, can also be taken to target all these media features. That let's you can for the time being call them as a environment. So these media queries are used to target specific devices, screens, and environment characteristics of environment, such as orientation, width, and height. So basically what is happening when you write CSS? Okay, so when you write CSS, what happens, regardless of what you write, okay, that is applied to whole web page to which it is listed. Okay, so but thing is that when you are actually targeting certain devices, such as mobile phones, uh, let's say one of the example is this header is displayed on website because you have lot of space is available. Okay, so for suppose this header is displayed on this web page because there is a lot of space. So what if it is actually is a mobile screen? Okay, so on a mobile screen we don't have lot of space. In such a case, to save some space and effectively display our content, we may use this different we may want to display these elements by using different approach. Okay, so here this how these elements are laid, how this UI is the page is actually constructed is different for this let's say mobile phone and for website. Okay, right? So here this we are targeting two different devices, that is the based on resolution. Okay, the one resolution assuming that is actually on wide screens, when resolution is not a wide but it is a resolution is small enough that there isn't enough space. So and also here we are actually laying down these items are all rendered one by one after another one. And but when it comes to widescreen, when we have a lot of space available, these are actually displayed as a sort of grid. So thing is that here, in fact, there is a different CSS. There could be different CSS for these different features, different environment characteristics that are typically called as a media features. And now let's come to, so like you said, basically what happens, So when you write something, regardless of what orientation it is, what target device it is, um, what is the width and height or resolution, regardless of that, this style sheet is applied to the whole website, regardless of its where it is, the target, what targeting device it is, and what is the characteristics of, what are the characteristics of environment. So but thing is that when you are actually, when you want to, in such a case, what happens when you don't actually optimize this web page for these different screens, what happens, that will look creepy, right? So when what happens, then let's take this screen, let's take this one. If it is not actually assume uh, assume that all those are displayed same way, okay? Yeah, so let's assume that we have these 4 columns. What happens, still we are displaying that way when uh, it is on a mobile screen, we don't have enough space. What do you need to do? You need to scroll horizontally, right? Or everything will be small, that you need to zoom on each one to actually check or to make certain action, okay? And also that is not user, that won't be user friendly, okay? So let's take a let me open some non-responsive websites. Okay, so to see how it would look like. Now most of the examples are you can say most of the universities websites are not responsive, okay? So let me search something here. Let's open this thing. Okay, look at this. This one is, for suppose, yeah, take this one, Google. This is not rendered as a mobile website, okay? So I mean to say, Google uses different CSS for different screens, okay? So here it is loaded as a desktop. So now you see how inconvenient it is for me to browse over this one. If I reload this one, mobile, Google will actually reload this render, will send or just will render this web results using mobile CSS, okay? So that, and that would be actually, let me reload this thing. So now do you see how inconvenient it is? Let me reload this thing. So now do you see the mobile UI, the web results applied with the CSS that is crafted specifically for small screens, that are mobile screens. Okay, so I've just, let me make this yeah, now let me reload this thing. Okay, this is desktop. These results, this UI is actually targeted for desktop, right? So now if I just as I make this thing small, can you see how inconvenient it is? Got it? So here I can't actually, I can't see that effectively. I need to zoom, and there would be a horizontal scroll. More than that, thing is that uh, things would fall out of the viewport, which means that you need to scroll horizontally, vertically to see them, and sometimes the UI gets weird. Okay, so and see how it looks. And now as I reload, we get this same results that are rendered with the CSS that is specifically crafted for this screen. Okay, so thing is that the HTML is same. Okay, but how that is displayed, being displayed is different based on the resolution. Okay, so without using media queries, you need to the same CSS is applied for all sorts of resolutions, but with media queries we can control, we can write a CSS that is specifically targeted for some small set of devices or screens. Okay, so how that is how we can do that? So we can do that using two things that are media type and media features. The basically first how it is applied, let me explain first how it is applied. You can write this, you can target this CSS, a specific CSS for a you can apply that selected CSS for a targeted device screen resolution using so-called @media. Okay, so you will enclose whatever you wanted, you will enclose the CSS that you wanted that to be applied on specific device. You will enclose that using media, and this media follows media type and media features. Okay, so basically two ways you can actually, you can put this, use media inside style sheets. Okay, inside style sheets @media, or you can actually link this. When you have external style sheets, you would use we would use a link, right? Link rel style sheet, and you would use a source, and for that you can use the attribute media. Okay, you can use a for that you can use a attribute, attribute you can specify here media. Okay, and equal to, you can specify whatever the condition here it is, and we will see those conditions in a moment. Okay, and there is in a JavaScript you can use a that is a story for the other day. You can use media match. Okay, so to match your screen, to match the particular the media in the sense that can be a specific screen resolution or device. Okay, so let's go on check and learn how to construct. Here following media you will specify some condition. Okay, so and then after that within curly braces you will write your CSS. Okay, CSS, and this condition decides which if this condition is false, becomes false, the corresponding CSS will be active. Okay, so how to craft these conditions, let's see in a Let's see that in a moment. Okay, so we have two things we can use following media. We can use two things: media type, okay, and media features. Okay, so before let me why do we use media queries? Media queries we use to target specific device or uh, orientation, width and height or screens. So we use to based on those characteristics to differentiate or to target particular CSS for that device, screen, width or height or particular characteristics. We use media queries, and we use in a media queries we use media type and media features to distinguish these characteristics. Okay, there are media queries. There are there are different types that are all, okay, print and screen, okay, and a speech. Okay, so what happens, let me give you some example. At the rate media, okay, print and open bracket close bracket, and if write some CSS, that is let's say div, okay, color equal to, okay, do we write that in style sheet in CSS? Okay, so in style sheet, STYL style, okay. So what is changed here? So we write these styles as usual, but thing is that we just enclose this in a media query. Okay, so this is called media query. Okay, so we just enclosed our CSS with the media query. See, okay, so that this, what is the scope of this style sheet with these styles for this print only. Okay, so what does it mean? Print, this is used for a print preview or when document is printed. So do you know when you go to some website and when you hit the Control P, the styles you get on a print screen would be different from the presentation or styles you see on a website. Okay, because you can actually apply different style sheet, because for a print, like the other day we have discussed, there are absolute and relative units. Some of the absolute units are centimeters, right, points, pixels, inches. Okay, so you can use these millimeters, these absolute units to apply CSS for the print. Okay, so when you use the print, you will select the print, the page, that is A4, legal, B1, B2, A3, okay, or letter, any sort of paper size. Then based on that, you might want to apply different CSS. In such a case, what you can use this media query to apply that CSS, okay, the when page is being printed or page is being displayed in print preview mode. Okay, so, and what is other type, which is all is just a which means that all devices. Okay, as a name suggests, as the name says, it means that all devices. Okay, so basically this type describes the device. Okay, so all devices. Print means a print device. You can sort of take it as a, let's say, for a targeting printers. Okay, so in such a case, on your when page is being displayed on web, it has it is displayed with on fragments of screens. That screen can be of any resolution. But when it is being sent to printer, so you should select the you should select uh, page size. Okay, let me give print this one. Okay, if I select Control P, or let me close this one. Okay, this is print preview mode. What I'm getting here, see, am I getting all sorts of different CSS? No, because, so let's select paper size. Okay, so I can select different paper size, liter or legal, and based on this, when you target a print, okay, so when page is being displayed in this print mode, print preview mode, or are sent to the printer or any sorts of real printer or software printer, so this CSS will be applied. The CSS that you write by targeting type print. Okay, so anything enclosed inside that media query will be applied in this situation. Okay, so let's cancel this one. Okay, let's reload, and if I actually print again, okay, so here CSS, there is no targeted CSS for the print here. Okay, but on some websites, okay, CSS for the print, they actually they write some separate CSS for the print. Okay, so you might actually recognize that when you hit Control P, the what you see here is different from what is being displayed on screen, which means that they are using separate CSS for the print. Okay, and all is for all device. Screen means basically you can say, so targeted for monitors. Okay, yeah, so screen means so especially web is, of course, especially web is made for screens, which means the computers, okay, or mobiles, laptops, that, which means that effect, that is also all potentially primarily all pages are created to be browsed or to be displayed on screens or monitors. But thing is that all other corner cases, different devices are like we are seeing print, that is targeted for print preview or when it is being printed. Another thing is that speech, the when it is used, this CSS is applied especially when it is pages being interpreted by the screen readers. Okay, and the screen is, as you know, this is the default, this is the one, the when you use this one, you are targeting basically screens. Okay, so typically the, you can say, web browser when it is normally displayed. Okay, so let's do this one. This is the one, and let me actually also explain media features. Okay, so and then we will see some examples. So what this media type describes, type describes the general the category of the device. Okay, so category of device, that can be all, which means that all devices when it is print, which means that when document is being displayed in print preview mode, or it is being printed when it is sent to the print. Screen means the basically screens, which means that you just monitors or screens, that is the primarily, that is where the actual CSS, that is typically CSS is by default is applied. And a speech, when it is actually a page is being interpreted by screen readers or speech synthesizers. Okay, so these are all different screen types, media types. Other one is, we have media features. Okay, media features, what are media features? Okay, So media features describe the characteristic of a particular device or environment. Okay, so media features describe characteristics of a targeted uh, device or environment. So here, let's say that if it is targeted device is a screen, which means that just typical the screen monitor. Okay, so what are the different, what can be the different characteristics of a screen? That is different characteristics can be width, right, height, okay, resolution, okay, and monochrome. What is monochrome? Monochrome means a black and white display. Okay, so monochrome means that single color. Mono means single. Monochrome means that the device that just displays in a single color, uses single color instead of RGB. Okay, another thing is that orientation, right? So when it is targeted for screens, that is, let's say if it is mobile, of course, if it is desktop, always we would be using landscape. If it is mobile, that can be landscape or portrait, which means that mobile can be uh, held in this way, which is portrait or landscape. Okay, okay, these are different characteristics of screens. Okay, resolution, last one, resolution. Okay, and width, height, resolution, pointer, monochrome, these are all different characteristics. And so likewise this media features describe, this media type describes the targeted device, and media features describe characteristics of targeted device and environment. Okay, so these are prominent media features available with prominent media features, and the exhaustive list of media features can be found on Mozilla Developer Network media queries. Okay, so there are other media features include grid, hover, inverted colors, okay, overflow, pointer are also there, scripting. Okay, and let's see, we will see how these we can use these prominent media features and devices together. Okay, let's say that before we proceed further, uh, let me explain about different resolutions. Okay, basically when you actually use, we tend to call screen sizes small, okay, medium, okay, and large and extra large. Okay, so we have learned about pixels, right? Pixels means small dots. Okay, small dots are points that are laid horizontally and vertically. So horizontal, if it is, let's say, 1920 by 1080, which means that horizontally we have 1920 dots and vertically we have 1080 dots. Okay, the making up this resolution. Okay, so here small means anything which is less than 576 pixels is small. Okay, hello, yeah, so anything which is actually in between 768 and 992, so these are not standard. Okay, these are the whatever numbers I'm telling, these are not standard, that you can define your own set of these let's say figures or numbers to represent what is small, what is medium, what is large. Okay, but this is a typical the resolution that let's say Bootstrap or Foundation, these people actually assume, so if they assume this the screen size is medium, if that resolution falls between that. Okay, so we are also just using those numbers here. Okay, let's say that if a screen size is in between 992 pixels and 1200 pixels, we call that as a large screen. Okay, so this is a screen size, and what I'm talking here, whether it is small screen, medium screen, large screen, or extra large screen. If anything which is greater than 1200 pixels, which is extra large screen. So let me show you that thing here. Let's go here and go to enable this one. So here, can you see here, I can choose particular device, okay, or I can choose responsive. When I choose responsive, here can you see horizontal number of pixels and vertical pixels. Okay, so what is this? This is below 576 pixels. Okay, so when I say those pixels, I mean to say width. Okay, okay, so this is small screen, this is considered as a small screen. Okay, and when as I resize, which is above, which is between 576 and, okay, or let's say 768, which is between 768 and 992 pixels, this is a medium screen. Okay, so when you target medium screen, you are basically targeting for tablets. Okay, so when it is actually below, tablets are mobiles with very big screens. Okay, or it's a orientation can be landscape. Okay, so what is landscape and portrait orientation? You know that, right? Yeah. So when his phone is held just vertically as it is, that is portrait orientation. When you actually rotate that, that is landscape orientation. Okay, so and here as I actually remove, okay, so let's take a iPhone 5 SE. We can consider it as a small screen. Why? Because, or a small screen, extra small screen. Why? Because you can see this how many pixels with 320. Okay, so that in media queries you can use the resolution below 576 probe, which means that you are targeting all mobile screens that actually fall below, or all mobile screens that are considered to be small. Yes. Okay, the how we are actually segregating that based on resolution here. Okay, resolution means we have learned what is resolution. Resolution just describes how many pixels we have vertically and horizontally. And again here the pixels that are represented in browser are not exactly equivalent to the hardware pixels. Okay, hardware pixels are different from the browser that actually uses to represent this resolution are different. Okay, so and if we take iPhone, let's say 7 or 8, it is considered to be again small screen. Okay, so anything between 576 and 768, anything that fall below 576 and 768 is considered to be a small screen pixels. Okay, let's select iPad Pro. What is this? This is medium screen, or this is a large screen in fact, because which is greater than 992 pixels. Okay, so when you use a media query that is targeting for this resolution, which means that that CSS applies when the any sort of device that has this resolution, which would be actually typically a tablet. Okay, so how do you differentiate these different sorts of devices? Because we don't have any media query device type that describes the mobile phone, because that would be a chaos, because we have uh, so let me show you. I'm just looking for a screenshot that displays yeah, check. Let me check. Okay, so here is one, I think. Yeah, look at this. Hello. So this is the fragmentation of screens, which means that these many resolutions are there. These many different devices are there in the market. Okay, so this is conducted by some. So you can click on anything, you can actually. Okay, see, Android fragmentation report, there are now 24,000 distinct devices, up to 28% of from the last year. Okay, it is from 2015. Okay, and this article is from 2015, and imagine in 2020 this fragmentation is very even vast. Okay, so these many different screens, I mean to say, look at this. This is the different devices and different screen resolutions, different screen sizes. Okay, you take that iPhone is of different screen size, Samsung Galaxy, or take a Moto, okay, Oppo, or any sort of devices, that these all vendors are not following any standard uh, on a screen size. Not all, not even from same company, not two models have a same screen resolution or size. Okay, so and imagine that is chaotic, that is tedious when you have a media query that that actually defines a that it particularly addresses the particular device, or by name, or something uh, that is chaotic. We can't deal with that. For that reason, we generalize these screen resolutions using this uh, resolution. Okay, so we use that resolution. We call any device that has a below 760 pixels of width, we call that as a small screen device. Any device that has a resolution in between 576 and 768, we call that as a medium screen devices. Yeah, and any device that has a above 992 pixels, we call that as a large device. Okay, and again, these whatever numbers I'm telling you, that is, those are not standards. Okay, so those are some big players, big in industry, those are they are using, so that everyone, we're also using those numbers to recognize to identify small, medium, and large screen devices. Okay, okay, so, and any device that has a above 9 to 1200 pixels, that is a extra large device, and that is typically the monitor. Okay, so this is a fragmentation of different screens, vendors and screens. Okay, now let's go back to where we left. Okay, so that we generalize these devices using resolution small, medium, large and extra large. Okay, so how we apply, let's say how we apply this using this is what is this resolution is a media feature, and how we can use this media feature to target and render the particular CSS, apply particular CSS uh, on specific or small devices, or let's say mobile phones. We will see that in a moment. And before we go, let me introduce you to one more thing, one very last thing, that you can actually combine multiple media queries using logical operators that are and. Okay, and you can actually negate this media query using not. And there is only another one is only. Okay, the and is what you use to combine multiple media queries, and that particular CSS will only be applied when all of them are actually satisfied. And there is one thing, comma, we use comma just like a CSS selectors to combine multiple, to actually apply same CSS for the multiple media queries, to match multiple media queries. Just like a CSS selector, we use comma to apply the same CSS for the multiple CSS selectors. Okay. So let's say that if you use two media queries, you use and you can use instead of writing, if you have same CSS for a let's say that one example, let me give one example. Let's say that you have same CSS for the screen and print. So what you can use media, okay, screen, comma, print. What does it mean? The whatever you write CSS here, okay, that is applied for both screen and print. Okay, so if you don't use a comma instead of the, in such a case you need to again this whole block for the screen and again this whole block for print. Okay, so we use comma to apply the same CSS for a multiple queries, media queries. Okay, and now let's go. Let's say that I want to apply a CSS. Let's I'm just increasing canvas size so I can write more. Okay. Okay. So now let's say that you want to apply media. Let's say you want to apply CSS for a small screen. Okay, small screens. How you can do that, and only for a landscape. Okay, small screen and a landscape. Or let's say you want to, let's go step by step. Let's say you want to apply CSS when a device orientation is landscape at the rate media. Okay, and you can put orientation colon landscape. Okay, these, what are these possible values for each media feature? You please refer documentation on a Mozilla Developer Network, so you can find the part of the possible values for each media feature, which is a media feature here. Okay, which describes the characteristics of particular device or environment. So we can open and close whatever you write here CSS. Okay, that is applied to only device is held in a landscape. Okay, this is portrait. Okay, this is portrait, and when mobile is held like this, okay, this is landscape. Okay, so when you want to apply particular CSS, when a mobile is held in a landscape, in such a case you can use this. Let's say that you have a sidebar, you want to display that only when a device is held in landscape. Okay, in such a case you can make that sidebar display none or visibility hidden. Okay, or display none when device is held in portrait, and when device is held in landscape you can make the display block when it is when you can put just simply display, okay, what block, okay, so that it will be displayed as a block element when it is landscape. And in general just put a display none, okay, which means that by default it is applied. So in general, so that is hidden by default, and when it is matched, that will be changed to block. Okay, so let's see, we'll see just let's see an example which will be more clear. Let's say that, so let's say let me give you another simple example. Let's say you want to target let's say you want to target a device which is that minimum width is, okay, you want this thing to be displayed for any device that is that is not a mobile, okay, that is not a mobile, which means that that you want this thing to be displayed for a tablet and laptops and desktops. Okay, in such a case these are not standard, these numbers, but see, at the rate media you can use, there's a min height, min width, okay, or min width is there, min height is there, min width, min width I can 768 pixels, okay, and if you want this thing to be or a screen, okay, this is redundant, but you can, let's say you can put media screen on min width, okay, which means that it is a screen and min width should be 768 pixels. In such a case, the whatever is inside is applied when the resolution is a resolution by resolution the screen is identified as either medium, large or extra large, which means basically tablet, laptop and desktop. Or let's say you can use other way. Let's say I can write media. Let's say when you use orientation, this width changes, okay. Let's say you want to identify by height and orientation portrait, so orientation, okay. So in such a case you can min height, okay, 680 pixels, and orientation, okay, portrait, okay. So in such a case what happens, whatever you write here, okay, so E is applied when device is held in a portrait and the screen height by pixels is 680 pixels. Okay, let's see that in action. Okay, so there are even lot of complex media queries you can make up, okay. So you can combine width and height, you can combine different screens, and you can use hover, monochrome, okay. So many things we can do, same way that you can do all sorts of complex things with the CSS selectors using combinators. Okay, so let's go to code pen. Okay, so let's do div. I will be doing very simple one. Okay, class block. Okay, I'm applying a block background color. Sorry. So what color should we choose? Background color, let's say red, width 100 pixel, height 100 pixel. Okay, so we got this. Let me choose a width 700 pixels. Okay, height 400 pixels. Okay, this is applied regardless of what screen it is, because we haven't used any media queries. Okay, so here let me apply another CSS at the rate media. So you can see the resolution here, right, which is 1024. Yeah, so at the rate media screen, and screen is redundant, but we can put screen and min, let's say max width. Okay, you can use min width is there, max width is there. Okay, so max width 768 pixels, and copy this thing, change the color, background color from red to green, from 700 to 400, and 400 width and 300 height. Now see, let me go to responsive. Okay, as I increase, what happened? Yes, by default, which CSS is applied here? Yeah, see, the one thing you can also you can make use of this developer tool. Select our element. Okay, select our element, and you can go to styles. Okay, you can also check here for the selected element which styles are applied. Okay, and here it is selected. Okay, so which one is applied? This one, first one, that is by default. Okay, without any media query. Okay, and this media query CSS that is included in particular media query, one that will be applied only that query satisfies. Okay, so imagine this, think of it way. This media query continuously queries the device. Okay, for your understanding, let me explain this way. This media query queries the browser. Okay, is this true? Is this true? Okay, this media query is querying the browser. Is this a screen? And is this current width is max? What is the current max? Is max width following below? Is width following below 670 pixels? Okay, since that is false, the a CSS enclosed inside that media query, which became false, will be ignored. Okay, so as long as it is false, as I am resizing, that queries the browser. Okay, is the screen? Yes. Is width below 768 pixels? No. So that is ignored. So look at this screen resolution here. Okay, and when still it is false. Is width below 768? False. And now we are so close, which is width is 772 pixels. Let's resize. Now look at this. Okay, so which is 772. Now as it falls below the width 768, that media query becomes true, and anything that is applied so far will be invalidated, and that query, that CSS will be applied. Okay, see, got it? See, it's like now since device is small, I decreased the size, and we can change the color. You can do what's all sorts of things. Let me apply this. So let's do one more thing. Let me apply media query. This is a tablet, this is a mobile screens, which is max width, which means up to mobile screen size. Okay, okay. So now let me apply this for small screen devices, which means that, okay, I can select media screen and the max width till 576 pixels. 576. Okay, and let's make this green to blue, and let's apply border radius. Okay, border radius 50%, so that becomes circle, which is now it is a medium screen, that with resolution by resolution, which is above 576 and below 768. It is called the medium, sorry, it is called a small screen. Okay, okay, and the width above 768 pixels and below 920 is called medium. Okay, so, and it is small screen. As I reduce it further, now check this. Okay, what happened? The since that media query became true, that CSS applied. Okay, so what happens in general, if you have multiple style sheets, so you will end up writing a separate style sheet for a separate targeted device and media features. Okay, and you can include that using, you can write the same media query, the whatever I wrote here, as a media attribute for the style sheet. Okay, and that style sheet will be downloaded regardless of whether that is true or not, but that style will be applied when that media query becomes true. Okay, that way, this is the traditional way of making our web page responsive, applying writing different styles for different screens. But as actually because of this bootstrap and grid and flexbox, the much of the requirement for writing this media query is reduced. And there are cases where you absolutely, whenever you absolutely require writing different styles for altogether different screens and media features, or characteristics of the screen and environment. In such a case, you can use these media queries, because you can't detect whether the screen orientation is portrait or landscape when it is a screen reader or speech synthesizer, or it is a print. So you can't recognize that using a flexbox, grid. So in such a case, we write media queries. Okay, okay, so okay, so don't be confused. Let me write this thing. So a device width from, in general, okay, 576, okay, which is above from 576 to 768, which is small. Yes, and from 768 to 992 is a large. Sorry, medium. Okay, Okay, so medium. And from 992 to 1200 is called large. Okay, and of course anything above 1200 is called extra large. Okay, so when you target these things small by resolution, what are these? The basically uh, mostly the any resolution that falls below this is a mobile. Okay, typically, as you can see. So when you write a media query for that resolution, you are typically writing for a mobile device. Okay, as you can see, if I select anything, Galaxy, Pixel extra large, iPhone 7, these are all falling below small. Got it? Look at this resolution width. Okay, the whatever is the that whatever the number I gave, that is a width. Okay, not the height. Okay, as you can do height because these mobile screens are tend to be mobiles are coming with a lot of height. Yeah, so the height can be sometimes up to 900. Okay, so iPhone X, ipad. See, ipad the anything the mostly the ipad screens fall under the medium resolution. Okay, we can categorize them as a medium width screens. Okay, as you can see, which is 768 exactly. Okay, ipad width is 768 exactly, which can be categorized as a medium width screen until 992. I can, if I ipad pro which is above 992, this is large. Okay, and Surface Duo, this is 540 and between 5 which is this is like extra small, which is less than 576, right? Yep. So that is how we can target different screens. Okay, and yep, so we have seen the example using if you are on mobile, you can test a orientation as well. Okay, so we don't have this orientation here to check. Okay, you can test orientation on a mobile as well, where you can put let's say you can write something. Let me okay, so I can actually put another and I can actually restrict that particularly orientation for a landscape only. Okay, the which is when device is not held vertically, but when it is held horizontally. Okay, so that when that becomes true, then only this will be yes applicable. Okay, and there is a monochrome. Okay, so let's say that what are some examples of monochrome? So monochrome means any device that has that that has no color. Okay, in such a case you don't want to use all sorts of colors, right? Of course, whatever, if I use blue as well, there is no use, because blue again will be displayed in grayscale. Okay, so monochrome means single color, black and white photo. Like in such a case, you don't want to waste up your all sorts of creativity on colors and all. So in such a case, you can if it is monochrome, let's say, and you can combine any number of these media queries, monochrome. Okay, so you can actually remove the color and you can actually corresponding black and white. Okay, so instead of blue I can just give black or gray, or okay, so in a grayscale. Okay, so let me open this MDN media queries. Okay, media features, search for media features. Okay, there's a, yeah, this is the list. Okay, to go through this list, and each one is having different some are actually duplicated, some are actually in use, and there are different sorts of values. Like if you take a monochrome don't have any values, we use simply like this. Okay, and it's unlikely we use that monochrome. Okay, and the mostly what we use orientation, and we use resolution, and we use width and height. Okay, but and display mode is sparingly we use when it is required. Okay, and this device with device these are actually, whenever you see, it means that this is obsolete, we should not use. In documentation, whenever you use this bin symbol, it is discouraged, highly discouraged not to use that media feature. Okay, instead of that you can use alternative, that instead of device width and device height, you can use width and height. Okay, another thing is aspect ratio. Aspect ratio describes the aspect ratio of screen. Okay, so aspect ratio means height and width ratio. Okay, height and width ratio. So you can actually target based on the height and width ratio. Okay, see, as you can see, this value represents the width to height ratio. Okay, which is that the ratio of a device width and device height. Okay, so because the aspect ratio, how picture displays changes based on aspect ratio also. Because let's say if you take a wide screen, the picture might be stretched, right? Okay, let me show you that. Different. Okay, so there are different aspect ratios. Let me show you that. Okay, you can target this. See, this is aspect ratio. This is 21/9. Okay, so this is width to height ratio. These are different aspect ratios. The mostly this is 16/9 is what mostly most of the screens come with. Okay, so you can actually target the CSS based on aspect ratio also, and most of the mobiles also aspect ratio is 16/9. Okay, as you can see here, this wide screen, what is 47/20, the normal screen 16/20. So which means that based on aspect ratio, the size, how screen looks like, whether it is a rectangle, square, okay, or a wide screen. Okay, the square is 4/3 aspect ratio. The 4/4 means 4/4, 1/1 means basically it is pure square. Okay, here 4/3 means it is the little bit it is a longer, height is little bit more larger than, vertically it is a little bit larger than the width of the device. And 16/2, 16/9 is more common. it is a ratio, it is a proportion or a ratio. Okay, okay, that is a aspect ratio, that is width to height a ratio. And you can actually, in such a case, you can target that. Let's say you want to target, you want separate CSS for this aspect ratio of screens. You can use media query and aspect ratio. And you are or you want you are targeting a device that is of aspect ratio, that is of square, which is 4:3. Okay, you can actually select that one, apply CSS, and that CSS will be active when that aspect ratio, when a device is square. Okay, as you can see here, media query, min aspect ratio. You can actually there are actually min aspect ratio, max aspect ratio, as well as just aspect ratio. See here 1:1. What it means that, okay, which means that which is a square. Okay, add, so 1:1 means the width to height proportion is a 1:1, 1:1, which is pure square. Okay, so 3:2 means that is a width to height proportion. Okay, so which is a let's say in such a case, width is longer than height. Okay, so when you in some cases, when you actually, you can also use monitors in portrait. You can rotate and you can use them. Okay, in such a case also you can use resolution, or you can use aspect ratio. Okay, as you can see here, this is well example. Okay, so that is these different colors are actually being applied as the based on aspect ratio. Okay, yeah, it is changing. Okay, okay. Yeah, so that's it for today, and we'll see more of these media queries. But please do go through these all of different of course you won't use them mostly, most of the, like any pointer, hover, color, monochrome, uh, it is unlikely you will ever use them, but it is good to know. Okay, it is a good thing that if you are aware of these things. Okay, these things are available, or you can refer when you encounter any sort of situation, you can refer this documentation to validate and verify what are different media features available. Okay,